Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. My name is Amal McDonald. I am the Regional Sales Director here at M81. I'm based in the US, in Connecticut, more specifically, and I have with me Bruno Taverne, our VP of Sales, and also Pascal Ruckbusch, our Technical Director. If you're interested in exploring further, please feel free to reach out to any of us, and we would be happy to set up a demo for a technical deep dive. So to get started, let me give you a brief introduction of who we are. We are a software developer specializing exclusively on the IBM I platform. We have been in existence for at least 11 years. We have at least 50 partners across many countries in the world. We have at least 800 end user customers and 1,700 plus IBM I partitions under management. Both our solutions are fully in-house developed. This is the companies that we work with. There are, as you can see, well-known brand names all over the world. We also work with many partners across the world. Today, I would like to introduce you to two system and operating products that M81 has developed for IBM I. First Flash4i, and that's the presentation we'll be doing today, gives you a complete instant copy of your production partition. This solution allows you to reduce your backup window almost to zero, including Save 21. It also provides you with copies that you can use for testing, pre-production, or recovery solution, and it's powered by the IBM Flash Copy Snapshot technology, and it has minimal impact on your system. Our other solution is called Control4i. Control4i is a very proactive 100% monitoring solution of your IBM I system and applications. It also integrates with your existing enterprise monitoring solutions like SolarWinds, PRTG, Zabbix, and many others. And the best part, it requires no programming at all.
Okay, thank you, Amal. I will not talk as Pascal Ruckbusch. I will talk as someone else. Just figure out that I'm the IT manager of the M company. And maybe you know me. My name is Mario, and that's the way I will present this, run this presentation. In our company, we are building pipes and valves and a lot of things like this. Maybe you probably have already seen us. In our company, 20 years ago, it's a French company. So I'm from a French company. Maybe you hear with my accent that I'm French. So in that French company, 20 years ago, we had a homemade system software based on running on a Power 5, and our database was big as 250 gigabytes. It was a usual time at this time. 10 years ago, we opened a new office and a warehouse in Atlanta in USA, and had a new ERP, and we were running on a Power 8, and the size of our database was about 700 gigabytes. And today, the size of our database is 3 terabytes, so much more. There are pictures. We also have internet orders, so it's much more size, power, and we need more time. About the time, I will show you the planning that we have. In this planning, we had, sorry, one thing to move this. In this planning, this is the interactive jobs for the office and for the warehouse or the factory. And there in green, that's the time for the batch jobs, night batch job. And we had the time to run a backup before the batch and after the batch, also on Saturday. On Sunday, it was possible to run a Save 21 because there was no users, so very easy. But now, 20 years later, we have these users in the USA office, the users in the warehouse in USA, and the batch jobs are here, and they take much more time. so we need extended time. We have the internet access that takes place here the entire week, and the batch jobs take more time, 3 hours, and the batch jobs are here, sorry, and we don't have the time anymore to run a backup before the batch. And as the backup takes 3 hours more time, then it takes place at the same time of some users. So it's harder to make the backups, and you can see that during the backups we cut the internet access, so it's not very good, a very good idea. So we have to find a solution for this. And now I have some requests, new requests from the sales department that have a real 24/7 internet access for our customers, non-stop. I have a new request from the BI department. They want to build the data warehouse. They need to have the data stable during something like 1 hour every day, so no changes in the database, and that's very hard to do. And the security department came to see me and say that it's not possible anymore to have a developer working on the production. If we have a test, if we have a bug, and we want to test about this bug, then we have to make the test somewhere else. Where? I don't know, not on the production. And also they did ask me what happens if we have a ransomware attack. I said that we are protected, that we have a lot of protections against the ransomwares, but it still can happen. So what happens if there's an attack? I don't know. So that's a lot of questions for me. I don't have the answers. I called my business partner. This is my business partner. You can see she's very, very beautiful. And she told me that she has a solution for it from me. The solution is, why not to make an instant copy of your production data? It's possible, and it's possible using a technology called flash copy or snapshots. What is it? The flash copy or snapshot is a way to make an instant copy of your disk, the entire disk. It's only available on external disk arrays. So SVC, flash system, Storewise, or DSAK, that's for the IBM world. And the name was flash copy. That's the name of the old technology, the previous technology. 2 or 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, IBM introduced a new technology which is called snapshot or policy-based flash copy. There are several names that are available on those systems. And also for other manufacturers, it's called snapshot. What is it exactly? It creates a virtual clone of your disk. So take every disk and you have an instant copy. Instant. It takes less than 1 second. The initial content of the clone disk is exactly the same as the source disk at the time you start the flash copy or the snapshot. Exact same content. And after that, the source and the clone are totally independent. It means you can make an upgrade, a system upgrade on one set of disk and have no change on the other side. You can change the QSecRefer password on one side and have no effect on the other side. So you really have 2 sets of disks that are completely independent. And moreover, you can use the clone immediately. You don't have to wait for an entire copy. That's instantly. In fact, it's not really magic. There's something inside. What you have to know is that it works. That's no magic. I can explain you if you want to know how it works. We can plan another meeting later. You call Amal and we will plan a meeting together. But now I don't have the time to explain. Just remember that it works. It's possible. Now with this, what can we do with this? It's better to explain with a diagram. So here is the external storage. So that's a real system. And inside the storage, the disks are defined. And these are my productions disk. Then I have my partition. inside the power. So that's the production partition. And with the partition and the disk, we can have users and the internet access, etc. So this is your traditional or normal environment, and you use it every day. With FlashArray, we first have to install FlashArray in the partition. And what it does, when there's a part of configuration, install and configure FlashArray, it's between 1 and 4 hours. It's very easy, very fast, no complexity. Everything is made to be very easy to use. How do we use it? When I want to start the backup, I use one command, and this command will start a flash copy or start a snapshot or create a snapshot. And those disks will be mapped to a clone partition, an additional partition that I call clone 1. And this clone 1 is there to make the backups. And the backup will be made on the same hardware as the one you use. It's a physical hardware, a VTL, that's whatever you want. You have it. We don't sell any hardware. And this backup, FlashArray will manage it. That's not FlashArray that does the backup. That's your usual tool, your usual product. If you use BRMS, that's BRMS. That's a traditional BRMS backup. If you have your own program, we use your own program, or we can do a SAFE21, a system SAFE21. This is for the backup. Now, I need to have another partition to have my developers working on it or testing if there's a problem, and for the BI department, for them to build their data warehouse. So what we will do is configure a second flash copy or snapshot. There's one that is here for the backup, and there's another one that creates a second set of disks or third set of disks mapped to another clone partition. This clone is a clone of the production, so same IP address, same name, same startup, etc. So FlashArray, there's a module in FlashArray that allows to change the IP configuration, rename the net server, rename a lot of things. So clean a few things. When this is done automatically, then it's possible to use the data to create the BI or to have my developers connect and test whatever they want. They have the data that were from the production last night, so very quickly, or last weekend. Could be a new clone every day here for the clone 1 and once a week for the clone 2. And now, how to protect against the ransomware? If there's not against the ransomware, but if there's an attack from the ransomware, there's something called the safeguarded copy. That's a way to configure. In the previous version, it was a specific place. Now it's just a way to configure. And inside this, there's another snapshot that is specific because it's unmutable. It's not possible to change it or delete it. And we can create a new one twice a day, for example, at noon and at midnight or at specific hours. So with this, we have copies that will not change. They remain exactly the same. If there's an attack somewhere on the production disk, then we can use them, and it's much faster to use one of these than to restore from the tape if we need to get the entire database. So that's the structure. And what happens the next day? Okay, the next day at 2 a.m. at the time I want to start the backup, then we stop the snapshots and we start them again and start the clone partition that will run the backup and start the snapshot here for the clone 2, extract the data and have the developers work on this test partition. And you can do that every day at the same time. That's just some jobs to schedule in your favorite scheduler. And also for the safeguarded copy, you have the new sets of disks created during the day. Okay, that's good idea. But then I have some questions. Now I understand this, but I have a lot of questions. How much time do I have to stop my production? Because today I stopped my production for 3 hours. How much time do I have to stop? Do I need 3 times the disk space? Do I have to write programs or not? How do I monitor my two other partitions? And I want to make sure that the backup are correct. And how do I do that? And what happens if there's a ransomware attack? How do I do? Is it hard or not? So first question, how much time do I have to stop the production? Well, the answer is a typical IBM answer. It depends. It depends on what are your constraints. The best option is to stop the users for 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. That's a maximum. If it's possible, then there's no issue. Just stop the users, make sure there's no big batch running, do the FL clone command, which is the command to run everything, and that's all. After those 2 minutes, it's up to you. You use the production partition as usual. If it's not possible to stop for 2 minutes, then just find a moment between two batches when there's no big batch. A big batch is a batch job that changes 1 million records or changes a lot of things. So make sure there's none of those big batches. If there are batches waiting for things, you don't care. They don't write anything to the database, you don't care. And as few interactive jobs as possible. And then it's possible, and then it works. Or if your application is using the journals and commitment control, then you don't care. You can do the FL clone command and start the snapshot at any time. There's no issue. Okay, what about the disk space? I will have 3 partitions. Do I need 3 times the same disk space? Well, the answer is still, it depends on what you do with the clone partition. If the clone partition is recreated every day, so after 24 hours, then you don't need to have the entire disk space. Just use inside the configuration, we will say that we want to use the space efficient or no copy. It has a lot of names, different names, but the goal is that the result is that the disk space used physically on the disk array is only the changes. So we don't need everything. So this statistically uses between 5 and 20% of the original disk space. The original disk space is the size of the production disks. So not 100%, but 5 to 20%. And every 24 hours, it comes back to 0 and restarts. If your goal is to use to create a UAT or any kind of partition that will remain active for 1 month or more, maybe it's good to make a full copy. And then it's good to plan to use 100% of the original space, disk space. So depends on what you do. Do I have to write programs? No, it's not necessary. There are some places where you can put your own specific programs. There are exit programs positions, but it's not necessary. And a lot of our customers never wrote any program. When we want to start the backup, that's only on the production, only one command, which is FL clone. And this command has one parameter, an environment, I will show you later. This command, this has all the parameters we need to do everything. So only one command, 1 to 2 minutes, and that's all. To create the clone 2, and the backup here will start automatically on the clone partition. For the second one, it's also the same command with another environment, and it does everything. Start the snapshot, start the partition, and on the partition, we need to reconfigure. Also, that's automatic. There's another definition to use, and it will change a lot of things into the system configuration. And for the safeguarded copy, that's another command to start a safeguarded copy with some definition also. So just a few commands that you place in your favorite job scheduler. How do I monitor those partitions? Well, those clone partitions will send automatically a lot of logs to the production system. So all you have to do is monitor on your production as usual and check the logs. And we provide a command that allows to check if there are errors in the log. And there's also an option, a module will send an email or create a message or call one of specific program if you want, whenever there's an error or when the status changes. Okay, good for monitoring. Now, how am I sure that the backup is correct? The backup is done on another partition. How do I check this? But again, a lot of logs are sent automatically to the production. There's an internal log. There's the system log, the display log command. There's a job log of the job that made the backup itself, and the startup program also, startup job. So all those are automatically sent to the production. You can see them here very easily. If you use BRMS, then the entire BRMS library is automatically restored on the production. So you can use BRMS as usual on the production, just as if the backup would have been done locally. No change, nothing changes. And if you have your specific program, then it's also possible within the product to send a lot of things, files, data, messages to the production. So you check on the, as usual, on your production system. And my last question, how do I recover from a ransomware attack? So imagine there has been an attack. Even if we protect against many things, there has been an attack. So there are corruption in my database. How do I have to do that? How do I recover? We have seen that we have a clone2 partition. This clone2, I will use it as a recovery partition, or I can have an additional partition ready just for nothing, doing nothing, ready to be used. How do I use it? Well, I will use one command, flmap host, and this command has a few parameters. Within the parameters, there's the name of the safeguarded copy I want to use. By default, it will be the last one, so star last, but I could select a previous one. So go to take the one from yesterday or 2 days before. This will create a snapshot and map and populate those disks. And then I just have to use this command to start the clone partition. I want to start it in manual mode because here we have an exact copy of the production, no change. So we have to change something on the production. Maybe this one is still active with the IP address. So I have to start it in manual mode, check that everything is correct. So I can test the database, make sure that there's no, not corrupted. And when it's correct, when I'm sure that I have the right copy, then it's possible to restore the data. So copy all this to the production and reuse it. And that's very easy to do. Okay, so I have the answers to all my questions. Good, I'm happy. In 5 minutes, I will try to make a demo of the product very quickly. This is the main menu. These are the feedback commands, and the rest is for the configuration or actions, etc. If I look at the feedback, no, first I told you that there's one command, which is fl clone command. It has one parameter, which is an environment name, and the environment name is a definition that has every parameter we need: the IP address of the HMC, the name of the prower, the name of the clone partition, the IP address of the disk array, the name of everything, the name of the BRMS definition I want to use it. Everything is in it. Normally, here is a demo partition, but normally there's one definition for the daily backup, one for a full backup, one for a test, and one for a weekly backup. So that's normally there's only this. When I use this command, it takes between 1 and 2 minutes, and I have everything ready. And I have a feedback. The feedback is here, that's a history. Here are the list of the environments that have been used. You can see that it runs automatically every day at 2 a.m. That's just scheduled. There's a status. All those are finished, and flash copy or snapshot. So these are finished. There's no disk anymore. And we have two partitions here. They are both still active. One has been stopped. So it probably has run a backup last night, and now it's stopped. And this one has run a backup last night, but we didn't stop the partition. We still can connect and use it to do something else. There are internal messages. If there's an error, we can see it. I think there are, yes, when there's an error, we can see it very easily. And these are some statistics about the time to run the FL clone command, the IPL, the time of the backup, etc. We have internal messages. That's some messages are provided are generated on the production system, some on the clone system. But remember, we are here on the production, so everything is available here. We have the system log, and within this system log, we have the messages that have been generated on the clone partition with all the information. So I have it on the production, and also the job log of the job that made the backup itself on the clone, but here available on the production. So this is part of the feedback. And if I use 1 minute to show you the definitions, when I create the product, I have to, well, I will not show everything, but just the environment that I was talking about. When I look at this, there's a part of the hardware. Where is the storage? Where is the clone partition? I have to flush the memory. That's this command that there are parameters. I can select the parameter. This is the new IP address of the clone partition. That's what the operation I want to do. This is to do a BRMS backup. In this case, I just need the name of the control group. The standard control group, I don't have to change anything in it. Or I could run your own program or do a save 21. It's not necessary to write programs, but there are 10 positions, some on the production and some on the clone, that you can use to write your own program and do something specific. And a few other parameters like get, extract, and get the date and time of the last backup for the journal receivers, and update this date and time on the production itself. So all those definitions, these definitions are used by the FL clone command. We have everything we need. So everything is totally automatic. Just use FL clone command, and that's all. And you can see that there are a lot of other things that we can do, specific things for the safeguarded copy, and many, many, many modules that we have added in this product since now 11 years. Okay, so if I summarize, you with FlashArray, you can have a daily backup of your production partition without to have any impact on the production. You even could do a save 21 every day. You have the data, absolutely no user. That's very easy. Or you can use it to refresh a test partition very quickly and totally automatically. And you can use it to create immutable copies of the partitions. So you can use it in case of ransomware. And we have a lot of customers, a lot of systems installed with our product. I don't know if there are questions. Mal, did you see any questions?
Pascal, there is some questions. Safeguarded copies, are they located in the flash storage, for example?
Oh, yes.
But not occupying space of the prod partition disks. Would occupy the same space than prod disks in the storage. So question about space for standard copies and for safeguarded copies.
Well, in fact, everything I said here, remember that there's, well, here you have our contact. So I will come back to this screen later. Everything here is inside the same external storage. So it's not possible to do a snapshot or a flash copy to another system, to another external storage. So this is inside. When you have replication, it's possible to do a flash copy on the replicated disk, but but it's inside the other box, inside the other system. So everything is inside, and the safeguarded copy is taking the same disk space. So it's inside the production flash system or DS8K, but not inside the disk themselves. So that's close to independent. That's just as if you create a new partition and a new system with the same flash system. And about the disk space, it takes the same kind of disk space as for the standard snapshot. So if you start a new safeguarded copy every day, it will use between 5 and 20% of the original disk space at the end of the day. And if you want to keep them for 5 days, then you have 5 times between 5 and 20% of the original size. And I always say between 5 and 20% because it's not really possible to estimate the size it will take. There's no tool to do that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Pascal. So just
any lock during the copy? No, there's no lock. Copy is when you start a snapshot or a flash copy, it's only a function that is running on the external storage itself. The IBMI does not know it, so there's absolutely no impact. Can your flash POI support VIOS and viscosity disk? The answer is yes. We support it works, and there are specific options to do that, but it's inside the product. It's in the standard product. So yes, it does. Any other question?
Contact name of how you should get in touch with us if you want a deep dive into the product. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate your time, and we hope that this was beneficial and helpful, and we would be very delighted to work with you. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.